All right, here's one out of left field. Nick Bosa hasn't really been practicing the last 2 weeks. He was having a dominant camp. He would have days where he'd have 4 or 5 sacks in team periods. And then all of a sudden he just kind of stopped practicing. And the Niners said he's got soreness. He's got some neck soreness. He missed the joint practice with the Broncos. He missed the preseason game. He practiced one day last week on a Monday, came back, looked great, and then left again. Hasn't been out there. So clearly the Niners are shopping Nick Bosa, right? What do you think they could get for Nick Bosa? What is going on here with Nick? No, really, what do you think? To me, this is like neck soreness. What do you think?
I think that Shanahan and Lynch, and I agree with this, by the way. I think it's smart. I think Shanahan and Lynch have taken a very realistic look at their team, and they don't want to play any of their top guys. Now, Purdy begged to play, and their offensive cohesion in the name of that, he gets a chance to play. But I don't think you're going to see CMC. You're not going to see Trent. You're not going to see Bosa. You're not going to see Warner. You're not going to see Demo. You're not going to see these guys hardly at all, if at all, unless they beg to get out there. And I think Bosa understands. I think they understand who he is. I think he's now in the Trent Williams thing where he does what he wants. And that's...
Yeah, but isn't it interesting, though, that Trent and Christian want to practice and Nick's the one who doesn't? And they're not saying he doesn't want to practice. His neck is sore, Larry. His neck is sore.
I mean, let's just say this. They're cooked if he's gone. So
Super
I don't care about any, in baseball, if you're awesome in spring training, they call you like king of the cactus. It's like, I don't need him to be the captain of training camp. I know what this guy can do. Go find out about these other guys. Give Beal more reps. I mean, the way these guys fall like flies. I mean, the 49ers, there's a great article out on ESPN today from Bill Barnwell. And he was talking about last year. And the Niners last year were just so absolutely decimated by injuries and it's already starting again this year. But the only saving grace is that they're short-term injuries. They're not to their great best players. But the 49ers have to get to week one with some of these guys, or they got no shot. So I got no problem with Nick doing whatever Nick wants to do between now and week one.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. To me, this is his thing. I don't think the Niners said, let's hold one person out. It'll be 27-year-old Nick instead of 37-year-old Trent Williams. I do think it's interesting that Trent Williams and George Kittle and Fred Warner and Christian McCaffrey are all working really hard this offseason, like probably harder than even last season. And Nick halfway through said, I'm good. This is enough for me. I wonder if he looking at this team is like, you know what, man? This team isn't going anywhere. It's just not that good. And I'm not going to bust my ass on that level for a team that's not going anywhere. I'm going to have a great year. If I worked a little harder, maybe Colton McKivitz would have a better year. But you know what? It's not my responsibility. You guys are not on my level right now. Let me know when you are, because I'm in peak physical condition over here. Nick freaking Bosa. I don't know. It just feels like he kind of gave a thumbs down on this team. Like, guys, it's not looking good. But maybe I'm reading into it too much.
I just think that he is in that category of the 7 players that they absolutely, their season. I mean, the odds change in Vegas if he goes down. So when you're in that category, none of this matters. The guy's in great shape. But I will say this: the other day when he came out, and I think it was the day before, I forget which day it was, but he like saw us watching him work out on the side field, and he was like, you could tell he was looking over at us like, oh, they're watching me, working out on the side and not with the group. It's like he knows that it's not going unnoticed that he's taking it easy this summer. But I got no problem with it. I really don't. He's in that level of player where
he'll be ready.
Do what you want. Do what you need to do. Make sure you're there at Lumen Field week 1.
Joe JC says, in my opinion, they could have bundled Jair and Mac Jones to Las Vegas for Brock Bowers' remaining 3 hairs, but they waited too damn long. That is probably true. I've seen some memes going around that Brock Bowers is going to have a better year because he went fully bald. He hasn't gone fully. That's a lie. I saw him. He still's got those little remnants on his head. So I just want to say, if you were drafting him based on having a fully bald head. That's propaganda. Greg Flores says, "Hey, Grant and Larry, what are your record predictions after week 2 of the preseason?"
You know what?
I'm not changing.
Mine's going down. I was saying 11-6, but I'm thinking it's more like 9-8.
There it is. I said 7-10 when the thing came out, when the schedule came out, and there's nothing that's changing my mind about it. The reason I said 7-10 is I just feel like once again, what could go wrong will go wrong. And seems like it's going that way so far. It's not a deep team. It's a bit of a fragile team. It's a bit of an older team. And even the younger guys are hurt this year. And this team is never mediocre. It feels like a 9-8 team, but they either find a way to go to the NFC Championship or lose or be last place in the division. So we'll see. They might be tanking already.
They went 1-5 in the division.
And every team in the division got better this offseason.
Yeah.
It's
a tougher schedule than it looks like on paper, but it's still pretty favorable. But you got to remember this: the last 2 teams, I think, that wound up with the easiest schedule statistically finished with losing records. So it's far from a fait accompli that they're just going to rampage the league. But there's games that they should win. But I'll say this: every single division game is going to be rough. I mean, how many games do you think they win in the division? They won 1 last year.
3 tops.
I would say probably 3-3 in the division. Sounds about
maybe
right.
2-4. Benjamin Button says Bosa's been really good, but if the Niners have a slow start, I think he should get shopped for a bag of solid picks. What about Bosa for Michael Parsons? The Cowboys, I don't know what their problem is. They could get Nick Bosa.
You would get the guy who has more football left in his body, but you would also get a guy that you probably don't like, because I think Micah Parsons, if you go research some of the reasons, I mean, he was a blue chip guy. He was supposed to go top 5, didn't go top 5 because he had a really ugly pseudo hazing incident at Penn State, and it was really dark and ugly. And I think if it really bubbled to the surface,
I don't like the sound of Penn State and hazing in the same sentence.
Yeah, you wouldn't like, and believe me, the more details on this you would see,
that's too bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no way they're trading a guy they love for a guy who's, maybe is good, but runs a little hot and is maybe kind of weird.
It's got a podcast too. I don't know if they want that.
Yeah.
He could be on my podcast. S2 Bling, $2. Thank you. Cameron says, who is the dark horse in the West this year? I don't know if they're so dark anymore, but the Seahawks look ready to compete. That's a 10-win team that looks better to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say Seahawks. Seahawks as well, just because the Seahawks defensively with McDonald, last year they started with Jerome Baker and I forget the other linebacker they had from Buffalo, and they just sucked. They traded out their linebackers, but they have a great young secondary, and they've got a pretty good front. I mean, the Niners are going to have a hard time blocking some of those defensive edge rushers that Seattle has, and Seattle's a great secondary, and a really good coordinator. So I think Seattle might,
for the first time since freaking Mike Holmgren. That can't be understated. They have never had a good offensive coordinator under Pete Carroll. They've been okay at times with Bevel or Shoddy, but actual Kubiak, wow, that's incredible for them. I think it's gonna. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Justin says at least the Niners will know if they're good or not early. If they lose to New Orleans week 2, they're in trouble. Yeah, I think that's fair.
New Orleans is bad. If I was looking at New Orleans roster today, somebody asked me a question. I was looking at their roster. Their roster is horrible. I think that 49ers should get off to a pretty decent start, but yeah, we're going to find out. If they can't handle the Saints early, that will be a bad sign.